Ulster and Benetton have a ding-dong battle at the Kingspan. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. Ulster rode their luck a little bit early on in this one. Benetton, they're on the attack from the off, putting lots of pressure on that Ulster defence, stretching them. They've got numbers on the left, managed to put it through the hands, some stopping that Ulster drift as well, and some decent passes, and then Menoncello finishes in the corner. Conversions missed, and it's 5-0. Also then search for response, but initially it's repulsed by Benetton, who are managing to turn them over at crucial times, and including an Ulster maul around about halfway, where Ulster set it up from a line out, but then Benetton get in there, they strip the ball, turn it over, and then it turns out to be then a break for them and a decent run from Rhino Spit down the left, and Ulster again scrambling in defence. But Ulster do finally put a decent move together. They secure it from a line out, and then they're inside the 22. Cooney gets himself through a gap, offloads for Stewart on his shoulder to go over and score. Is converted for 7-5. Ulster, for most of the game, struggling in the scrum. They concede 2 penalties the first 2 scrums, and other than I think Ulster won a penalty for Benetton kind of walking it around in the second half. But other than that, Benetton were pretty much on top there. And here, Benetton, from that penalty, gives them a bit of momentum to come forward again. And Lowry didn't have the best start to the game, but as the game went on, I felt that he got better. But at this point then, he falls off a tackle on Marin, and Marin is going for the corner, but then Cooney saves Lowry's blushes with just a really good covering tackle, gets over there and gets him into touch. And Benetton, though, keep applying that pressure, and finally it leads to a kickable penalty, and Umaga slots that one and puts Benetton back in front at 8 points to 7. Then Ulster get turned over yet again by Benetton, and it's another counter-attack. Menoncello starts this one off. Smith with a decent carry in there. Ulster, then they're offside, so Umaga decides he's going to go for the posts again, but this time he's off target. In fairness, it was much further out and on a bit of an angle for him there. Ulster then managed to work their way upfield. Balakoon got taken out in the air by Smith, and from that penalty, they worked their way into the 22. Cooney snipes to get them close to the line. Then Sheridan almost gets there before Cruthers makes it over to score. Cooney converts that one as 14-8. Ulster now back in front. They then put the ball through the hands, get McCluskey into some space out on the left. Thought McCluskey had a really good game, always committing defenders and creating space for his team. He then puts boot to ball. Stockdale is leading the chase. Ball bounces up nicely for him. He gathers it and goes over the line. A decent covering tackle from Umaga, but Stockdale does well to get that ball down and score. Unfortunately, he fails an HIA early in the second half, and it feels, that's the way it is with Stockdale at the moment, is that it's all kind of stop-start for him. He's not getting a decent run with decent form in the last couple of seasons, and I thought maybe he was back. Looked like he looking really sharp today. Converted by Cooney, 21 points to 8 at half time. Started the second half then, Ulster on the front foot, but Addison, first of all, he decides to run a kick back out, which is fine, but then he then decides to offload behind him to no one in particular. Ball goes to the deck. Umaga gets there first, and it's basically a gift of a try. He goes over in the corner. He misses the conversion. It's 21 points to 13. Ulster then coming forward again. They attack down the left. They're in the 22. Then they switch it back. Some nice passing, including one from Burns in there. Then a long pass from Lowry out on the left to Addison, who goes over to and basically erases his error for the Benetton try by scoring there. Cooney, another masterful conversion from him from the touchline, 28 points to 13, bonus point in the bag for Ulster. But Benetton, they're not out of this yet. They then come and on attack, spread it to the left from an attacking line out. Some good carries from Smith and Yakizi in there. Then they switch it back to the right. Menoncello just twinkle toes his way around Cooney and then finds Halafihi, who just has a stroll over as Ulster run out of defenders. Albanos converts and it's 28 points to 20. Benetton now starting to go up through the gears. Bench having a big impact for them. Albanos breaks up the middle, and it looks for all the world maybe they're going to get a try here. Then Lowry with just a lovely covering tackle on him stops the move and kills the momentum. Benetton though, they do build again. They come again. A chip through. Lowry gathers it, then slips close to his own line. Does well to avoid being driven back over his line. Also then recycle, and they've got Burns in the pocket for a clearance kick, but Sheridan decides to take it on himself. He gets stopped on the line, gets stripped, and then Nemmer gets over to score Benetton's bonus point try, converted for 28 points to 27, and it's a 1 point game at the moment. Momentum then swings again back to Ulster, and they've got the Benetton line under siege. They're pounding away at the line, and you've seen the likes of Sheridan, Stewart, etc. Going close, but not quite getting there. And then is it Chuku? He gets over. It looks like he has the ball down, but you're wondering has he actually grounded it? So referee Sam Grove White basically sticks his head right into the pile of bodies and awards the try. Some good officiating from him there. Cooney then lands another conversion, 35 points to 27. A few minutes later then he lands a penalty to stretch the lead out to 38-27. We then have a lovely out the back of the hands pass from Rhino Smith, puts Umaga away down the right wing, and again looks like they might be in for a score, but Balakoon gets over and just completely chops him down. Great covering tackle, forces a knock on. Benetton though, the clock is in the red and are coming looking for that try that will give them a losing bonus point to add to the try bonus point they already have in the bank. And initially some really good scramble defense from Ulster. There are try-saving tackles left, right and centre, but they run out of numbers, and Luke Marshall gets a yellow card for a deliberate knock-on, as it looked like Benetton were going to make those numbers count. He goes to the bin. Albanos taps it quickly and gets over to score. He then converts for a full-time score of 38 points to 34. A really, really entertaining game. Both teams at it, all the time. Yes, there were errors from both the teams, but they both showed some really good attacking intent as well. We're going to have a look at some of the stats, but let me remind you that stats close after the game tend not to be the best, but we'll see here. It looks like they're actually up to date. I think the URC are a little bit better than the Champions Cup and the Challenge Cup in terms of the timing of the update. So tries scored 5 each. Possession was 57% to 43 to Ulster. Clean breaks 7 to 9. Defenders beaten 17 each. Offloads 12 from Ulster and 7 from Benetton. Onto defence then, territory 53 to 47. Number of tackles very even, 103 to 101, and kind of reflects how the game went, back and forth between them. Missed tackles 19 to 18. Tackle success 84 to 85. So both kind of a little bit down on where they would like to be. You know, we saw that with the first up tackles, but there was some decent scramble on from both sides as well. Turnovers 1, then 5 each. Kicking, then kicks retained, 1 for Ulster, 3 for Benetton. So Benetton, you know, benefiting a little bit more from their kicking strategy. And then penalties conceded, it says 6 each. That seems like very low for the game, but it didn't feel like, you know, very stop-start in terms of penalties. So that's probably is accurate. In terms of the players then, successful carries, 7 for McCluskey. For Ulster, as I said, big impact for him. 6 for Umaga, who I thought was excellent for Benetton. Clean breaks, 4 for Stockdale, 3 for Umaga. Defenders beaten, 5 for Stockdale. Again, told you he looked really sharp. Zanon with 4 defenders beaten for Benetton. Meters made, 100 meters for Stockdale, 61 for Umaga. And then offloads, 3 each for McCluskey and Umaga. In terms of defence, then Harry Sheridan putting in a huge shift, 15 tackles from him. Lorenzo Canoni, 11 for Benetton. Turnovers 1, Rob Balakoon with 2 leading the way for Ulster. Another, you know, I thought both wingers for Ulster were in really great form. So that's kind of, you know, the main stats there. So in terms of the two teams, as I said, both teams I felt played really well in the game. Ulster rode their luck a little bit in the first half where Benetton were on top, but then I think over the balance of the game, I think they deserved their win, but Benetton I think also deserved their 2 bonus points that they got out of it. Again, you know, every time they were down, they kept coming back at Ulster and getting closer and closer, and heads never went down for them. And you know, they got back within 4 points by the end, and you know, it just shows how close it is again this year in the URC, that you know, these two teams you know, battling out to get into those playoff places. And you know, 5 points for Ulster towards that, and 2 for Benetton. So Ulster will be the happier of the two teams, but I think, you know, maybe Benetton had chances that they could have, you know, won the game, or maybe if their defense at times had been a little bit better, that they might have, you know, they might have been the team ahead, having Ulster chased them. But I would say, you know, getting 2 bonus points out of a loss, it's obviously the best result that you can get, other than you know, winning or drawing the game. So at least, you know, got to be happy with that reward for them. I think that's going to help them in terms of, you know, when we come to the end of the season, those 2 points that they got out of this, you know, might be just the difference between them making the playoffs and not, or you know, finishing higher up the seedings if they do make those playoffs as well. So really entertaining game, and I hope now that the other games that I'm going to watch for the rest of the weekend are going to be just as exciting.